All right, everybody, I just wanted to go over the skulls that you're learning in chapter 10, which are the very beginnings of the genus Homo. So I have here from chapter 9, Lucy, Australopithecus afarensis, just kind of as a reference. So you can kind of see that even though Lucy is around 3.5 million years old, and we're going to the genus Homo, which is around 2+ million years old, we're not at big brains yet, right? If you look at these two side by side, Homo habilis is not big. He's not a huge person. He doesn't have a huge head. But there's a couple things that I want you to pay attention to. First of all are the features of the skull. So if we turn them to the side, you can really see that Lucy here has much more of a prognathic ape-like jaw. Homo habilis is starting to really lessen the amount of prognathism, and the teeth are getting much smaller, and the jaw is getting more slender and curved like we're going to see in humans. Secondly, the face is much narrower in Homo habilis. We don't have those really wide zygomatic cheekbones in Lucy. We've really lost those here. So Homo habilis here is known as the handyman because he's the first to use stone tools. His tool type is called the Oldowan. When you go through the lecture, you'll see very minor differences in the hands between the Australopiths and the genus Homo, but slightly longer thumbs, slightly less curved fingers, these tiny differences in how the fingers are shaped really would give them a lot more dexterity and not just picking up something and using as a tool, but picking up an object and modifying it to make a specific tool. And that's the difference between tool use in the genus Homo and tool use in the Australopithecines. Secondly, we come here to Homo erectus. Homo erectus used much more complicated tools that were hand axes of the Acheulean type. These were an extremely successful species. They lasted for more than 1 million years. Humans have only been here for maybe 200,000. They were also the first to leave Africa and go to Asia. And they also lost their body hair and have much larger bodies and brains. So here, starting around 1.8 million years ago, we finally see large brains. So we've been walking for about 5 million years bipedally before we get large brains. You can see the overall size of Homo erectus and Homo habilis compared is much bigger. Now, Homo habilis did not turn into Homo erectus. They were around at the same time. It's hypothesized that Homo erectus could only have done this by really increasing the amount of meat in the diet. You're going to watch your video and you're going to discuss this and how they could have possibly hunted even though their tools were not hunting weapons. We do have a much flatter face, a much more human-like face. We still have those big supraorbital ridges or brow ridges here, but we have a much bigger brain, okay? What I also want to show you is something right here, if you can go on top. It's called postorbital constriction. So your orbits are your eyes and anything post is behind. When you look at postorbital constriction, it's how wide this area of the brain is. And this is your frontal lobe. This is really important in strategy, reasoning, communication, things that we really kind of think about with intelligence. If we go back over here to Homo habilis, even though he's small, he has a pretty wide constriction, so not much constriction, not much pinched in here. If we compare to Lucy, that's very narrow. This is a very small frontal area. So even though Lucy and habilis overall are very similar in size, look at the development of the frontal lobe. It's not just about the size of the brain, it's about the shape of the brain. One other thing, or actually a couple other things on Homo erectus to define them. Right here on the top of his head, running down the sagittal line, he has a lump right here. And this is called a sagittal keel. Okay, it's not a crest, it's not for chewing power, it's just a bump on the top of the head. And that's because their brains were actually asymmetrical, and so the bone overlapped and formed that lump. Also, this is just something that I say, when you turn them around and you look at the shape of the skull, the widest part is on the bottom here, so I kind of say they have a mushroom-shaped head, kind of like a mushroom cap. That's something you don't see in any other of the hominins, so it might help you to identify them. This is just a Dmanisi example of Homo erectus found in the Georgia area of Asia. And so you can just kind of see another fossilized specimen, so you can kind of get an idea of the differences between those. You're also going to take a look in your video at Turkana, which some people say is Homo erectus and some say is Homo ergaster. So go through your lecture when you're talking about that and make sure you understand those concepts. Finally, we have Homo naledi. Homo naledi is a little bit of a mystery. We have to constantly remind ourselves that evolution is not a straight line. All these fossils I'm showing you did not lead from one to the other. It's a branching, complicated tree. Homo naledi was found in the Rising Star Cave. You're going to watch your TED Talk and read articles for your in-class assignment on whether or not they buried their dead. It has a mosaic of features. You're also going to, in your in-class assignment, talk about the age of this fossil, because at first we had no idea how old this fossil was. We finally kind of narrowed it down, and it's very surprising. But we have a lot of mixtures of primitive versus derived features. So some things are still pretty small. The brain is not too small. It's definitely not large, so it's kind of a middle way there. We have a little bit of a constriction. We have a little bit of a wideness of the face. You're also going to see a mosaic of features throughout the rest of the body, but it is classified in the genus Homo. So this is a brand new discovery. It's only a few years old, so you're going to be reading the latest information on that and coming to your own conclusions. So hope this helps. I will see you in class, and we will do the in-class assignment on Homo naledi, and then you'll work on your discussion and assignments on Homo erectus.